Bitcoin can be framed as a liquidity thermometer for the entire digital asset stack. When global risk appetite expands, capital typically finds its way into the most liquid and most universally referenced token first. When risk appetite contracts, the same concentration can turn into a fast unwind. This creates a market that often moves in bursts, long stretches of compression that end with decisive directional travel, then a digestion phase where participants renegotiate value. A useful lens is to separate valuation forces into three channels: capital availability, conviction, intensity, and market impact. Capital availability is about whether participants are willing and able to deploy fresh cash into crypto. Conviction intensity is about how strongly existing holders resist selling. Market impact is about how much price moves per unit of net buying or net selling. In strong upswings, capital availability improves and conviction intensity stays firm, so even moderate net buying can push price meaningfully because offer depth is thin. In weak phases, capital availability deteriorates and conviction intensity weakens, so modest net selling can push price down sharply because bids step back and slippage rises. Another lens is inventory distribution across participant types. When inventory is concentrated in holders who are insensitive to short-term price moves, supply becomes sticky and rallies can extend further than expected. When inventory is concentrated in holders who respond to short-term signals, supply becomes elastic and rallies can be sold quickly because many market actors share similar stock placement and similar risk triggers. You can sometimes infer the prevailing inventory type from rebound character. Sharp dips that are quickly absorbed can indicate resilient hands. Dips that drift lower after the initial drop can indicate fragile hands and limited immediate sponsorship. For directional sustainability, the internal shape of moves matters more than the headline direction. A constructive advance often shows controlled pullbacks, limited intraday reversal, and steady progression in higher time frame closes. A vulnerable advance often shows frequent spikes, large intraday givebacks, and a pattern where each push upward requires more effort for less distance. This is not about predicting, it is about diagnosing fragility so that exposure and risk limits match the environment. Macro context can be treated as a background constraint rather than a precise driver. When cash yields are attractive and credit conditions are tight, speculative allocation usually becomes more selective, and Bitcoin can face headwinds from opportunity cost. When financial conditions ease and risk premia compress, marginal buyers can reappear and volatility can be rewarded. The key is that the relationship can change across regimes, so a single macro indicator should not be used as a standalone trading rule. Microstructure can amplify everything. Bitcoin trades round the clock across many venues, and price can respond to liquidity gaps at inconvenient hours. If a move begins when depth is thin, the initial push can cascade because some participants are forced to transact quickly. After that cascade, the market often seeks a new equilibrium, and the next several sessions become a test of whether new buyers accept the higher level or whether the move was mostly mechanical. A disciplined operating model for Bitcoin starts with defining a volatility budget. Instead of thinking in terms of how many coins to buy, think in terms of how much portfolio variance you are willing to carry. If volatility expands, the same position size becomes riskier, so exposure should be adjusted, not emotionally defended. A second discipline is to separate decision horizons. A long horizon allocation can be managed with infrequent rebalancing and strict custody hygiene. A tactical allocation can be managed with predefined exit rules and smaller sizing. Mixing those modes without explicit boundaries tends to create contradictory actions and inconsistent outcomes. The non-priced risks are not optional to consider. Key management mistakes can be irreversible. Counterparty failures can convert a stable strategy into a loss event even if price moves favorably. Transfer friction during congestion can prevent timely repositioning. These operational risks should be addressed with procedures, not with optimism, redundant access, careful withdrawal practices, and clear custody choices. USDT analysis. USDT is best viewed as transactional infrastructure inside crypto. It is a settlement token used to quote prices, post collateral, and move value between venues. The core question is not whether it is convenient, it clearly is. The core question is how it behaves under stress, when everyone wants immediacy and certainty at the same time. USDT parity is a market agreement supported by convertibility and arbitrage. When confidence is high and conversion pathways are smooth, small deviations are quickly compressed by traders who profit from restoring the peg. When confidence is questioned or pathways become constrained, deviations can persist longer because the trade that would normally close the gap becomes slower, riskier, or more capital-intensive. In such moments, the token can trade like a liquidity instrument rather than a perfect dollar substitute, meaning users may accept a discount to obtain speed or pay a premium to obtain certainty on a specific venue. The most practical risk framework includes 4 pillars: asset liquidity behind the token, operational continuity for issuance and redemption, banking and payment reliability, and legal and compliance exposure. Asset liquidity is about how rapidly backing can become cash without meaningful loss. Operational continuity is about whether the system functions during peak demand. Reliability is about whether the fiat pathways remain reliable across jurisdictions and counterparties. Legal exposure is about whether access or distribution changes due to policy actions, which can affect how exchanges treat the token and how market makers warehouse inventory. There is also layered risk from where and how USDT is held. USDT on an exchange introduces platform solvency and withdrawal risk. USDT in self-custody reduces platform dependence but introduces personal security and transaction hygiene risk. USDT inside lending or yield venues adds protocol risk and liquidation dynamics. Each layer changes the risk profile, so the correct approach is to match the holding method to the purpose: short-term trading float, operational transfer balance, or longer idle cash. Network choice matters because USDT exists on multiple blockchains. Fees for POT, congestion risk, and reliability differ across networks. During stress, the ability to move tokens to the place where you need them can deteriorate, and that can create temporary pricing gaps between venues that are not immediately arbitrage away. Planning for this means keeping multiple routes available and testing them during calm periods rather than discovering constraints during a crisis. A monitoring approach for USDT should focus on persistence and breadth rather than isolated prints. A brief deviation on a single venue can be microstructure noise. A sustained deviation across several large venues, combined with wider spreads and visible frictions in transfers, is more informative. Another important signal is changes in collateral policy on major exchanges. If margin terms change, demand can shift quickly and discounts can widen. Bitcoin and USDT combined. Bitcoin and USDT form a two-asset circuit in the crypto ecosystem. One expresses risk, the other expresses settlement capacity. When participants reduce Bitcoin exposure without leaving crypto, USDT balances can rise as a parking place, which can later become a source of re-entry demand. When participants leave the ecosystem, USDT can be redeemed outward, reducing internal settlement capacity and tightening liquidity. Distinguishing between internal rotation and external exit is critical, because the price implications can differ even if Bitcoin is falling in both cases.